SportsGrid Pro Football today. What a fallout, man. What a weekend it was. Joe Lisi and Kevin Walsh. Can you believe the Week 18 menu has been laid out for us, Joe? And Saturday and Sunday really set up the single biggest result, I believe, in the NFL season. I want to get straight to it. Of course, we will talk, Seahawks, 49ers, how we got there, overall, the Bears' impressive win, Philadelphia in Buffalo. But, no Lamar Jackson, a trip to Green Bay. The Ravens had no choice but to run it. And run it they did. 36 carries, 216 yards, and 4 touchdowns for Derrick Henry. What all Pittsburgh had to do was beat the lowly Cleveland Browns. And they held the Browns to 13. Not good enough. They lose 13-6. And now Week 18, win and in, lose and out. Baltimore in Pittsburgh. What is your biggest takeaway from those two games right now? Baltimore giving themselves life, and then Pittsburgh letting that door come all the way open.
Yeah, I think if you're asking the NFL, this is what they wanted,
Sure.
right, for an NFL week number 18. But, you talk about it, and you and I had broken it down last week where that win in Detroit was really eye-opening, right? We said that road win really solidified potentially the Pittsburgh Steelers as a contender to maybe make a run for a playoff and an AFC championship if they can continue that type of momentum, that they look like a team that maybe at the price was worth betting on.
Mm-hmm.
But then you take the performance in Cleveland and you see where they account for only 291 total yards. Their defense held an inept Cleveland offense with a rookie quarterback to 13 points. But when your offense can only put up 6 and get shut out in the second half scoreless, that was a pathetic effort. That was the old Mike Tomlin offense and Arthur Smith that you were concerned about, and that peaked its head last year in the playoff loss with Russell Wilson. It was the same type of, I want to say, conservative type of attack. Let's play not to lose, and that's what they did. They lost it, and it sets up a battle with an emerging Baltimore Ravens team that John Harbaugh learned from his mistake in the home loss to New England. 128 yards for Derrick Henry with about 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He doesn't touch the football for the rest of the game. They lose it, and now they get a dominant road win. We'll see how they play next week, but right now Baltimore has the momentum, and Pittsburgh is searching for answers.
I think for me, Joe, we're going to, focus on what Baltimore did Saturday, but it wouldn't have mattered if Pittsburgh handled their business. And it is funny because, and listen, you just have to own these things. But there was a couple times in a row I felt like I knew this Pittsburgh team like the back of my hand. Tomlin spots and Tomlin nots. And the win in Detroit was so surprising. They started to rope me in. And instead, it's just the same thing that they do every year. Get a big win that tricks some, this time me, and then they lose a game like this that they lost here to the Cleveland Browns. And that tells me this is the same Steelers that they've been for a half decade.
Yeah.
And it means they're not to be taken serious. And it means that they are very likely going to lose to the Baltimore Ravens in Week 18. That series, that rivalry is almost always a split anyway. I could care less, and the books as well, that game is in Pittsburgh. It truly, like, you can tell that they're not shading it that way. And again, I really believe, for me, Joe, that even if they do beat Baltimore, because there's questions around Baltimore, you know this, and again, I can't be ashamed of it. It is what it is. I found myself wondering, am I going to bet Steelers futures? Am I going to place bets on this team to win this conference? I can't do that anymore. Not with what they put on display. And a lot of talk will be, well, they didn't have DK Metcalf. Look, guys, DK Metcalf is a good wide receiver. He has dropped a level. He's no longer one of these top 15 or so guys in football. And he's not had the caliber of season where you could excuse Pittsburgh looking like this. The Browns' defense is not good. They just have Myles Garrett. And he's obviously had a phenomenal season, but that's not a good defense. Teams score on Cleveland. We have seen that throughout this season. And I just, again, some of it is I can't believe myself, but I still cannot believe that these Steelers are the same team again.
Yeah.
That whether it's Rodgers or Rudolph or Roethlisberger or you name it, it's all the same here in Pittsburgh. The offense will let you down. Maybe the defense will make a play. You can move right past them. And that's where Pittsburgh is. Where Baltimore is, though, now, Joe, is completely reinvigorated. Because while this has all been a mess, there's no game they felt better about themselves than that game in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry is one of the greatest running backs in the history of this league, and he put that on display. And I don't know if Lamar goes in Week 18, but if they win that game, Lamar will play in the wild card round. And we talk about pedigree. Let's remind everybody, the preseason Super Bowl favorite was the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
They were dead, and now are favored to host a round one playoff game. Unlikely they're going to have to play Josh Allen in round one. So now it's just such a violent swing that the Super Bowl favorite was supposed to be left out, and now they are considerable favorites to be hosting a round one playoff game.
And they're a 500 football team, right? I mean, that's amazing when you just think about it, and you just think about their season now. They'll say, or the proponents or backers for the Ravens will say Lamar was hurt for a majority of the season. But it's not just the offense with Lamar Jackson. It is the defense that you have concerns. And you say, okay, if they're going to run the football and they're going to get into that style of game, Derrick Henry potentially could carry them. And even if they have a round one game or a wild card where they're hosting, do you buy into this team to potentially beat the likes of, let's just say, some of the better teams in the AFC right now? Teams like Denver, teams like Houston with that defense. Are we confident in that? No. But it is a coin flip right now. If they get in and they win a wild card game at home and Lamar is 80% healthy, he's there with Josh Allen from an experience perspective.
Yeah.
You give them the nod over Drake May, Bo Nix, and Justin Herbert, don't you?
Joe, it's not even a question. And I think, the AFC top-rung quarterbacks are all very polarizing. They all have such high expectations and high level of play. And listen, I think, Mahomes has earned everything from a completely different perspective, right? But there are, folks who believe Josh Allen will inevitably get it done, people who believe Lamar Jackson will inevitably get it done. There's the Joe Burrow, portion of it all. I am someone who believes that Lamar, or certainly coming into the season, believe Lamar would inevitably get it done and put it all together. And look, I might just be, I came to the realization, I might just be addicted to the AFC North, right? Preseason Cincinnati. I was really flirting with Pittsburgh for a little bit. The Ravens now. But Joe, if I've not clicked anything yet because we don't know just yet if Lamar's going to play, and that matters. I think they needed Tyler Huntley, by the way, to play against Green Bay. Because I think the Ravens sometimes like to get in their own way. And with Huntley, and they had no choice but to give the ball to Derrick Henry 36 times.
Right.
And I thought that was important.
Yeah.
They now have to welcome Lamar back while still giving the ball to Derrick Henry 25 or so times, and I think they will. If they're in, the Ravens, I will be ready to bet this team to win the Super Bowl.
Really?
I will be.
Yeah?
Because you know what it's reminiscent of? Ohio State in the college football playoff a season ago.
They got 8 losses.
I understand that, right? And in college football terms, Ohio State lost to Michigan. But a team that talented kind of gets a fresh outlook on life, and that's really what they had.
But yes, offensively, are we buying into the defense at all?
I think the defense has enough to make some plays. I do, but Joe, I think again we talked a lot about a conference full of teams with warts and elements you worry about, right? But sometimes if we do break it down to some of the most basic analysis, Lamar versus Bo Nix, Lamar versus Drake May, Lamar versus Trevor Lawrence,
they can overcome
Stroud.
that. You got a lot of inexperience where that can implode, and the defense doesn't have to do anything. It's a pretty good look.
And again, now listen, this team was sitting like 80-1 to win the conference before everything, shifted around. But there is going to be certainly some temptation. Then again, I'm talking a lot about a conference that some say I know nothing about. I'm a known NFC guy, and the 49ers to the 1 seed march is way on. We'll talk about it next.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales that Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. And unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on bye. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league?
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also say healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze, he's got you got DJ Moore, you got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today on SportsGrid, and Sunday Night Football provided people with a very fun game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Chicago Bears. 80 points put on the board, 42-38. The Niners get the win, the cover on a number, I think in some spots actually closed 4, so maybe a push. All in all, San Fran, that number kept moving up. It came down to the very last play of the game with the Caleb Williams scramble. Trying to find somebody in the end zone in the final 5 seconds. The one element of this game I just have to mention because it just feels impossible. Brock Purdy, 303 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. On the first play of the game, threw a pick 6. Brock Purdy is playing maybe the best football of his career over the last 2 weeks, where he has 10 total touchdowns. And yet sandwiched in between the Colts game and the second drive against the Bears is just a insanely terrible pick 6. And I don't know. I kind of love it. It was kind of, I don't know if charming is the right word, but a bit outrageous. Did you find yourself more impressed or unimpressed with one of those two teams on Sunday night?
I was more impressed with Chicago. I don't know if we know Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey and that team have weapons.
Yeah.
And we know they did it multiple times. George Kittle was out. Tom just steps up, right? You see, Ricky Pearsall come on. Yeah. He got paid it. But to see Caleb Williams and the Bears and Ben Johnson go toe-to-toe with that offense, blow for blow, and be within striking distance to potentially pull that game out, I was more impressed with them. Now, defensively, I thought both teams were atrocious, but I was more impressed in the loss, I'm going to say this, with Caleb and that team because they showed maturity. They didn't panic. The offense was able to make plays. They're doing it without a Dunze who's knocked out, was knocked out. Luther Burden with a dynamic performance. DeAndre Swift rejuvenated. Loveland, all of a sudden, one of the best, tight ends maybe in the conference. I don't know. I was more impressed with Caleb's performance. Like, he was poised. He kept his eyes down the field. We saw plays where, hey, the guy was offsides and he took the deep shot. In a playoff environment or situation, I now feel more confident saying that I would back this team in a road environment. Maybe more so now than what I would prior to that game. Does that is that crazy?
I don't think it is crazy. I think it is totally fair. I think Caleb Williams made a few throws where you say, if he's not already one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football, he is going to be, and spend a stretch of time as that. I think this team's trajectory, not just this year, but again, moving forward with Ben Johnson and Loveland and Burden and Monangai is all very, very exciting. I really believe that.
I feel like they're like Washington last year.
Well, the problem is, then we all know what happened to Washington this year. So that's
But forget that, though. But
Yeah.
because
they're actually young.
yeah, I just feel like they're starting to get it.
I get what you're saying.
Like, hey, the lighters went off with Caleb and Ben
Yeah.
Johnson's offense. It took him maybe 10 or 12 weeks to feel comfortable, but now he's comfortable.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing that confidence, that maturity, and all of a sudden that's a good problem to have as you enter the playoffs. Whether they be the 2 seed, the 5 seed, the 6, it doesn't matter. I just believe in them more the way I did with Jaden last year, where if they go into, a tough environment, whether it be, I don't know, just throw it out. You tell me, San Fran again, Seattle, they can come out with a win. They could be that 9.5-point dog that knocked out Detroit last year.
So I think the Bears are an interesting group because it does feel like if they play great, they actually can knock off anyone. I'm still not entirely sold they're going to win Week 18 against the Detroit Lions in Chicago. But I think what's funny...
Really?
Yeah, I'm not, by the way. But I think that's a lot of that's to do with Dan Campbell and what he cares about and different things. This is I almost chuckle a little bit. Again, a 42-38 Bears victory, right? More unimpressed or impressed with whatever, right? And you were more impressed by Chicago. I was more unimpressed by San Francisco. Despite having Niners futures, and this team now needs to win a home game in Week 18 to be the 1 seed, and that'll set that, it'll set tickets up nicely. Their defense is a little more smoke and mirrors, it feels now, as you watch the season go on. And you look at it, and you're like, oh, Robert Saleh's good, but they're so injured that when they play better offenses, you can just light them on fire. I mean, Joe, if you look at this stretch of football here, right, where they have been stacking victories, the only loss was to the Rams at home. They gave up 42. In that other stretch, who have they played? The Giants, the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Browns, the Titans, the Colts. Oh, Bears go and give them 38. So this is a team who feels like, now they're capable of it because Shanahan's got it going, Purdy's got it going, all these different things. But we talk about a Week 18 game against the Seattle Seahawks or even a divisional round game against the Rams in a 1-5. And this team, the opponent team total is going to be like 27.5. And you're going to, that's not crazy. And I think for the Niners, here's what I don't like. The Niners' path to a deep playoff run being Brock Purdy, please play like one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the league, sounds like a lot to me. And that's what we now have seen for 2 straight weeks. I really worry about this team's defense holding up over a stretch run.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, there's only so many injuries you can handle, though.
Like, that's the thing.
But
because
that's
it's
my
so
point.
easy to fit. Like, oh, what's wrong? Oh, they're not healthy. They were playing bad teams and
Right,
picking on them.
right.
But the better offenses are shredding this group.
Right. So the question remains, if they had to play the Eagles and that defense, or they had to play the Rams again in a situation, or Seattle with above-average defenses, are you confident that you could get the same productivity? And, oh, by the way, can their defense stop anybody? And more so, like, could they stop a dominant ground attack? Can they stop the Eagles with Barkley in a playoff situation? I know they haven't been consistent, but they're going to turn it on.
Well, look,
when they get punched in the mouth, can they make plays?
We're certainly going to get into Philadelphia in a bit, but I think those are valid questions around San Francisco, and I think we are presented with one of the most fascinating setups, and this has been the case. The Super Bowl favorite is deadlocked into a wild card spot. So let's talk about those Super Bowl odds next.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. Unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and you may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on bye. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league?
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's zero in on your Super Bowl odds, because this is something that I have been waiting to see. As again, you know this. I've been talking about the whole Niners catch the 1 seed spot for a little bit now. Let's just zero in on this fact: the team that is booked to win the Super Bowl as the favorites, with a full dollar gap in front of everybody else, is guaranteed to be a wild card team.
Okay.
The Los Angeles Rams. How do you feel about that?
I don't like the Rams' big picture. I don't. I'm sorry. I just think they have weaknesses that could be exploited in a playoff type of situation. I still have concerns about their defense. And again, if they have to go into a road environment, do you feel confident? Yeah, they could beat teams like obviously San Fran, Seattle, Green Bay. That's no problem. I do worry how they match up in a playoff environment against Philly. And people say, well, they went toe-to-toe with them last year, and they they covered. They were in striking distance. They should have beaten them in the regular season. I get all that, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And again, we could do that with every team. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. But at the end of the day, there's only one team that won the Super Bowl last year, and they reside in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So again, we're talking about betting right here, right now, before Week 18. Mm-hmm. We're talking about which team gets your money that you believe. They all have problems. They all have issues.
Yep.
Right? LA, Seattle, go across the board. Every team has a weakness. In my opinion, the only team that I'm willing to bet on to go the full gamut is Philadelphia, because I believe they have the foundation to just turn it on and get it right. And again, if this was Kansas City, or this was, another team that we love to just hype.
Yeah.
Nobody loves hyping the Eagles. So for me, that's the only team. I don't feel confident about LA. I think if they met in a playoff environment, I think Philly would smack them in the mouth again. Mm-hmm. And whether that be a 1-point win, 7-point win, or 10-point win, I believe Philly's winning. So they're the only team in the NFC that's getting my money.
So here's where I'm at on the Los Angeles Rams. I again remain fine if you believe they are the best team in football.
Do you?
Yeah, I think that's a more than fine opinion.
Or are they just a regular season team that
No, so I don't think they can be viewed that way, because Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl together. So I don't think I can call them just a regular season team. That does not necessarily mean that they're going to win this Super Bowl, but I don't think that would be an accurate representation of them. But the thing about this current iteration of the Los Angeles Rams is they have been a litmus test of how serious you should take a team. They did massacre the Jacksonville Jaguars in London, and that was before the Jags really kind of turned their whole season around. But if you look at it, they lost to the Eagles, they lost to the Niners, they smashed Mac Jones on the get-around, close games with Seattle. Heck, the game with Detroit was super close even, right? Even a close Week 1 game against the Texans. And where everything turned for the Rams, and they started getting booked in their own world, was when they destroyed Tampa Bay on that Sunday night. And it turns out that the Rams once again let everybody know, not, hey, we're universes better than Seattle, San Fran, Philly, right? What they told you is the Bucs are dead. And the reason the Rams, I believe, Joe, are still sat as the favorites in the way that they are. The full transparency is, if you are watching this, depending, the Monday night game has not happened yet, and that's okay? If the Rams end up as the 5 seed playing Tampa or Carolina, Joe, round 1 on the road, they might be the single biggest favorite the entire wild card weekend.
That's obviously possible. But again, they lost as a 10.5-point favorite to Carolina.
I understand that. I almost think that again, you call me a fool, Joe. Carolina's going to beat the Rams twice.
No. I understand, but
okay. I am not saying that the Rams are incapable of losing. What I'm saying is the Rams, round 1, if they play the NFC South,
yes,
if they're the biggest favorites,
they would match up and they'd be dominant.
That's how you justify booking a wild card team as the Super Bowl favorite when you're like, I'm more confident they'll be there than the 2 seeds.
Right, and that's understandable. There you go. I get it.
Yeah.
I get everything you're saying when we talk about the odds and when we talk about where they're priced, right? I understand that. What I have a problem is when we look at the football aspect, again, cold weather, tough environment. Yeah, it's Stafford. That's all well and good, but they're still a dome team. And if you have concerns about, obviously, Jared Goff and Detroit last year and obviously this year, why don't we have concerns about Stafford? I know they played in the snow in the Link, and he put up numbers. I get all that. But I'm not confident that that's going to continue throughout the playoffs. I just would bet against it.
Well, here's the thing. If you have beef with where the Rams are, how do you feel about a team who looks like they're going to be the 7 seed with top 5 odds? We talk Eagles-Bills next, right here on SportsGrid.
Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Giggles, at Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October, unless they get a really good veteran quarterback. Maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp, and you may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also say healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got a Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, now this is going to be good. Eagles-Bills, 13-12 final in Buffalo.
Gutty.
What did you think going into this game? What were your expectations? I just want to get a sense.
I said it on the pregame. I like the Eagles in the matchup.
Okay.
I didn't have a real feel prop-wise because of the weather.
Yep.
Wasn't really concerned. There wasn't really a game I was dialed in prop-wise on.
Okay.
But the props I did take didn't come through. I expected the rushing attack, but I couldn't get there with the Barkley numbers. Did take a shot on the Hurts number and anytime on the ground. And took a shot on Goddard, on I figured short to intermediate throws underneath. That didn't come through, but just figured that the Eagles would do what they do and in a tough environment on the road would grind it out. And I know it's ugly and people will say they're incomplete. A pass in the second half and they have multiple games and this, that, but they got the W. And again, we did this with Pat Mahomes last year. They were winning games with smoke and mirrors, and all they did was win, baby. And they couldn't wait to price the Chiefs as the best team to win a Super Bowl, right? Because Spagnuolo, the defense, and could we just talk about the Eagles for a second?
Okay.
Eagles went into Arrowhead this year, won. Went into Buffalo, won. Two of the most difficult places to win a football game.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
No.
And come out with dominant defensive efforts to contain. I mean, and he's laughing in the back about Josh.
Detroit,
have you ever
Bay.
seen Josh Allen handcuffed? 12 points.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. James Cook and Allen were supposed to cook in that matchup. All Buffalo does is they're good for at least 20 plus.
Yeah.
And to hold them to 12 points and basically contain them for 3 quarters is a testament to why I believe in this team. Big picture, we always talk defense wins championships, unless it comes down to Philadelphia or it comes down to another team we don't like. When it comes to Kansas City, when it comes to the Rams, when it comes to, whoever we want to pump up, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, that's all well and good. When we talk about the defending Super Bowl champs, can't be. Am I wrong?
So here's the deal with Philly. I do think you are right in this fact. They are a great test that people want it to look a certain way. And, I said the idea that, the Seahawks are much better than the Eagles is, always been completely insane. So from that respect, I agree.
Well, let me ask you. Neutral field.
Sure.
Darnold going up against the Eagles.
No. Let me tell you something. All right, fine. I hate you ask me this. The world where Sam Darnold goes to the link, okay, and they're going to book that game like pick. I'm going to have to handcuff you so you don't alter Eagles. But other than that, we're in business like you wouldn't believe. Okay?
I'm just saying.
No, I know. But this is the thing, Joe, from me. In the first half, the Philadelphia Eagles put together you could argue, season-changing performance. They had this down run, 3 straight losses. What about the division? What about the division? And then they pounded the Raiders, and they handled the Commanders, and they were crushing the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. And the offense was playing well. I know it was only 13 points, but the offense was playing well. They were starting to find themselves some legitimate rhythm. They had over 170 yards of offense. Again, it was playing well. However, this team in the second half displayed things that justify all of the questions that come their way.
Right.
But that I believe in Jalen Hurts, and I know you do as well.
He's a winner.
But Joe, yesterday was the end for me. I am done as far as any type of defensive Nick Sirianni. He is flatly a bad football coach, and that's it. The idea for Sirianni entering this season is the resume spoke for itself. But the reality is there's absolutely nothing to it other than the resume. What does he do? Obviously nothing with the defense. The offense, also no. Every year there's a new play caller in Philly. Wouldn't it be nice if the offensive guy they hired could call the plays like a McVay or a Shanahan? Not to mention the fact that the offensive coordinator they've had this season is so far in over his head, but Sirianni cares more about loyalty than actually fixing it and putting it together. So he gets no credit for the offense either. And the special teams unit is bad. Does he want credit for that? I don't think so. Well, maybe he's a monster motivator and he keeps the vibe's good. Wrong. The worst vibes you'll ever see on a double-digit win defending Super Bowl champion in the history of this darn league. Well, certainly, his in-game decisions make sense. And then the game against Detroit, he was making decisions like he had a broken PlayStation controller, and you press X and accidentally it goes to square. So then we find ourselves at the end of this game against the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills are driving, they're running hook and ladder, and it's fine. And what you're realizing, everybody in the building, the broadcast booth, is if they score, they're going to go for 2. So what you must do with 2 timeouts is preserve time if you're Philadelphia to either make them second-guess that or give yourselves time to drive the field and get a field goal. And this clown goes out there and does nothing. This guy, big 10-second runoff, he and McDermott shook hands and said, yes, please, 10-second runoff. It is the most indefensible stuff I've ever seen. It's not that Nick Sirianni isn't great at something. He's bad or useless at everything. Every single thing. It is chaotic. And somehow they have won 11 wins, and they might be the 2 seed. And honestly, they might just go win the damn Super Bowl again. And yet he is still flatly a bad football coach. A bad one. And yet here they are. They have multiple times this year had no passing yards in the second half.
You think he's punching above his weight?
Above his weight. Above his weight. He should be sending half his checks to Howie Roseman and another 25% to me for making me watch this garbage.
Yeah, but he was all excited. Did you see him?
Yes.
Hey, Buffalo. Hey, Buffalo.
He's
You like
back
that?
to Buffalo. A.J. Brown looks like he wants to knock him out. They're running around celebrating because Hurts threw a 2-yard touchdown to Goddard that some guy from Bowling Green drew up, and neither one of those bozos actually figured out. My mic's on the fritz. I'm not happy about it.
But they won.
Okay, it's about how you win. I told you this all year about Kansas City, and I'll tell you the same thing. It's not just about winning.
So
it's
maybe
about
they
how
run
you
the
win.
maybe they start running the option. Sirianni's
It's not about running the option. It's about running normal plays.
Yeah, but I can say that about 80%
No,
of the
you can't. They're
Yes.
the only team who's had multiple games without a passing yard in the second half. Wait, broken the mic. The mic.
I don't know. It sounds like I'm in a wind tunnel. I don't know what's going on. There we go.
Sirianni put this mic together. It's not my fault. What do you want me to do? Kevin Patullo made the phone call to put this mic on the
But
desk.
you're entertaining, at least.
And I'm over here, Jalen Hurts, trying to operate, and people are blaming me that I sound bad.
Here's the bottom line.
Well, here's the other bottom line, because now I'm upset.
Well,
Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills might be the most fraudulent football
they
team
are
in
2
God's green
home
earth.
losses this year.
I've never seen anything like this.
2 home. They got exposed.
They're down 13 with 5 minutes left. They're running the football. Is Josh Allen even good?
No.
By the way, one quarterback in this game's a tush-push merchant. The other one is Jalen Hurts. What is this? What are we going to call this out?
I don't know. All
I mean,
can say-
honestly.
Shakir is, he's not.
Shakir?
I'm just saying.
That's-
No,
All right.
I'm saying their passing
you-
attack is terrible. Outside of Dawson
You're coming
Knox
for
and-
Shakir?
Well, I'm just saying all these guys.
Late round pick out of
Keon
Boise.
Coleman inactive.
He's inactive.
I'm just
That's
saying.
on McDermott.
But
Why'd he go for 2? Did he have
maybe he
the
had
wrong
Philly.
film on what Philly was doing?
Maybe he had Philly money line.
Yeah, he had him in the Circa contest plus the 1.5. Come on.
I don't know. You're asking me things I don't know.
I'm starting
I
to
like
get a
the
sense.
Eagles. Here's the bottom line. There's a lot of head
Buffalo's the
coaches.
7 seed. How's that a thing?
A lot of coaches in the NFL are terrible. They're horrible head coaches.
Okay,
And you know why?
you're
You're
speaking
throwing
my language.
Sirianni, McDermott's in that group.
Yeah, all right.
He's in that. I'll throw D'Amico Ryans in that group.
No,
I will. He's
come on.
terrible. He's terrible.
No, come on.
He's horrible.
No, you
You're
gotta
gonna
be
wait
kidding
and
me.
see. You're gonna see D'Amico. Everybody's praising.
He's a defensive guy.
Yeah,
It's not his
defensive
fault.
guy. Yeah, I know. He's
I liked it.
defensive.
Honestly-
yeah, Dr. Evil of the NFL. Here he
Gutsy.
is. Oh, we got to score 30 to win.
No, didn't need to.
We got to
14
score
nothing.
30.
14 nothing on
We
the
have-
Chargers.
we have-
Shut it down.
We have
Herbert's going to do
we-
nothing.
We have to call back-to-back passing plays.
No way. He's going to put Will Anderson at running back like he's Jacob Rodriguez
Let's go
for the
back. The
Heisman.
NFL has regressed. We have leather helmets
Here
and
we
no
go,
face
the number
masks.
1 wide receiver theory.
No, it's the
Yeah,
truth.
no anytime.
Garbage
Evan
league.
Ingram, no touchdowns are
No,
coming
it's
in.
a garbage league.
Yeah, all right,
The
here we
play
go.
is pathetic.
We're going to talk Raiders-Giants next.
let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Giggles, at Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October, unless they get a really good veteran quarterback. Maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp, and he may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this hit maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got a Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Back to right here on Sports Grid. And, Joe, still plenty for us to get into. Some NFC South coverage certainly around the corner. However, we actually, funny enough, ended up with one of the most important games of the slate, being between the two worst teams entering into the slate, which were the 2-win Raiders and the 2-win New York Giants. The winner of that game was going to really control their destiny to have the first overall pick. If you are the Raiders, you are going to be looking for a new quarterback. Even Geno Smith's biggest fans can't defend what this season has ultimately ended up with. And you're going to, again, Fernando Mendoza is the favorite, maybe Dante Moore. We can have those conversations. If you're the Giants and had the first overall pick, though, there was some chatter about, do you move Jackson Dart? I think most of that was silly, but you can then trade out and maybe get a haul, and you can try and shore up some other areas, and there's some excitement there. 34-10 is the final score. The Giants dominated them. What was your biggest takeaway from this game?
Well, I mean, I told Donnie when I did the pregame that I thought the Giants seemed fishy as a 3-point favorite. Why? I mean, that's a significant road favorite for potentially two teams that were looking to tank the game, right? It wasn't a 1.5 line. We had a flat 3 by the time the game kicked off in favor of the Giants, right? Yeah. Which was significant road favorite. And I thought the Giants were the right side. Again, I did feel the over would come in because if there's no Max Crosby and you have nobody really stepping up defensively, who's going to tackle, right? Yeah. And Jackson Dart with a 200-yard performance, he steps up, he makes some plays. Again, Las Vegas is in a major rebuild, right? They need a quarterback. Now, I don't think Geno Smith is the answer in any capacity. He's old. He's washed up. He could see the punches coming. He can't get out of the way.
I got you. I have a serious question with the Raiders.
Go ahead.
This is a football team who made the decision to pretty outwardly tank in this game. Again, sure. I don't think Geno Smith was intentionally throwing picks. I just think he's that bad. The Max Crosby stuff where they, sent him home. I think Crosby's played his last game as a Raider.
Okay.
I think he will be more serious about getting to a winning situation than Myles Garrett was. Because Crosby's kind of already been paid, so I think now he'll look to go. And if I'm the Las Vegas Raiders, quite frankly, I'm willing to trade him. I don't need a superstar, high-paid edge rusher with the way my program is set up. The Raiders thought this year was going to result in maybe 9 or 10 wins, sneaking into the playoffs, so they were just wrong. It happens. So because I think they should trade Crosby, because I think they are so far away, Are we sure they should be drafting a quarterback? I'm not saying give Gino another year. What I'm saying is Fernando Mendoza gets drafted and walks into what? An awful offensive line. Again, the sixth overall pick last year at the running back.
Outside of Bowers. And
like that. So Genti and Bowers are certainly foundational pieces, but like, can this team draft a quarterback?
Yeah, they have to.
They're so far away.
All right, but then, okay, could they get Mac Jones? He's under contract. Are they going to get another free agent quarterback? Who are you going to get? You're going to tank next year as well?
Yes. I know nobody likes that, Joe, but, I mean, take your lumps. Is this team of Fernando Mendoza away from what?
But what if – I don't like Mendoza overall. I just think, again, he's not mobile enough. He's a prototypical guy.
Yeah.
He's got a little pocket presence, but he's not tucking it in and running like Caleb or any Jaden.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that you can't go in with Geno Smith. You can't. If they had Mac Jones or they had somebody that
Malik
you could.
Willis.
I mean.
Kyler Murray. I wouldn't do that.
I mean, but they have no weapons.
Well, so
they're going to get abused. They're going to be a 2-win football team.
So I don't worry about the weapons as much as the offensive line spent the whole year being useless, and defensively, I mean, they have nothing outside of Max Crosby, and I think they should trade him.
It's a similar situation in Cleveland, isn't it?
No. Well, Cleveland feels really good about the draft they had.
Well, Junkins, looks like the real deal when he's healthy.
Fannon's a monster.
Yeah.
Schweschinger is going to win.
Is Shedeur the answer?
Defensive Rookie of the Year. Probably not. I mean, probably not. But, Cleveland has, I think more guys in-house that they feel good about than the Raiders do. So I just think listen, but I know that teams don't like to take their lumps. Teams
but what
are
you hoping on? So they go 2-15 next year.
Yeah.
They get the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Then they're going to be ready for a quarterback?
They'll be more ready.
Why?
Well, because then they can spend this whole year drafting offensive line and defensive line.
And shoring up that middle. They can't do that in free agency. The Bears were able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears were much closer.
But I'm just saying, they shored up the interior lines.
To some degree, Joe, and you probably actually got us where we should go. No, seriously. What the Bears, more important than any offensive lineman that team signed, was they got Ben Johnson. And the Raiders, we think are going to go for a new coach. We don't know. The Giants.
So who is that guy, though?
But let me ask you about the Giants.
Yeah.
I don't love what I see out of this team from a head coaching search
They're going
perspective.
nowhere.
They were dying to pull Marcus Freeman out of Notre Dame. He announces he's going back. I don't. What plan does this team have?
None.
I'm not following it fully. Yeah.
There's none. So is it McCarthy? All Mike does is coach up the team. Mm-hmm. Look at what he did with Dak. Got him to that's great. Have they won a Super Bowl? Have they won an NFC championship?
Right.
I mean, come on. You can't take the Dallas Cowboys when McCarthy took them over and say that the Giants are in a similar situation. You had a veteran quarterback. You had a big play wide receiver. You had multiple weapons. What do you have on the Giants? They have a bunch of nice players. Jackson Dart.
You done with Neighbors?
No, but again, but here's the thing. He's coming off a major ACL injury.
Well, yeah, they got a lot of guys coming off of big injuries. Let's just quickly take a look in terms of who was supposed to be the first overall pick, just the way that those odds
give it to me.
Shape up. Again, the heavy expectation is it will be Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner out of Indiana. Do you like Dante Moore?
I think Moore, if he here's the thing, and I told Donnie this. You could sell Mendoza now if you believe Alabama's gonna play well against Indiana, and if you think Oregon's going to beat Texas Tech, buy Dante Moore, because I think you'll have a little bit of movement off that. That's obviously a long way away from April.
Yeah.
But if Indiana gets knocked off by Alabama and under the expectation of where Bama was defensively, if they abuse him for 3 interceptions and he performs terrible, you're going to get value.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back with your primetime preview right here on Pro Football Today.
let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Giggles, that Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. Unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp, and you may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll also stay healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Probably do lean towards Williams here. Not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, with you here on Pro Football Today, a little primetime preview for the people here. Just quickly, we'll talk probably a little bit more about this throughout the week, Joe, but the disappointment, because ultimately it's not supposed to matter, but for Tampa Bay to lose on the road at Miami to Quinn Ewers.
Terrible. I mean, a gutless performance by Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay. They've lost their identity. And, again, what is the identity of this team now? Is he hurt? Isn't he hurt? It doesn't look like he's hurt. I watched the game. He's running around. They just have no continuity offensively. Yeah. They have gotten Godwin and they have gotten Mike Evans back in that offense, and they're much more inconsistent in the passing attack now than they ever were. I don't know what it is. Is it not knowing where to go with the football? Amika Ibuka is all of a sudden a forgotten name. How is that possible? How is that possible?
They feel like a broken team. Every interception is more confusing than the next. But they're going to have a chance Saturday at home against Carolina to take care of business. Now, here's the weird one. If the Falcons upset the Rams tonight, the Bucs don't actually control their own destiny.
They need an Atlanta loss.
Yeah, it's a very odd thing, but the thing I will say, Joe, I don't mean to be Captain Chalk. I would be quite surprised if the Atlanta Falcons win tonight against the Los Angeles Rams. How do you feel about the side here on Monday Night Football? Oh, no.
No. I can't. It's got to be the Rams. I'm not betting the side.
I'm not laying. I'm just saying.
I'm just. You're gonna lay 7?
I'm not. I would rather. There's a flat 7 popping out there. Doesn't it? See, you know what the problem is. Sometimes, Joe, you run into a game that feels a little bit too obvious, and that's usually when the sledgehammer comes out, and it's halftime, and it's 6-3 Rams. Mm-hmm. But it just feels like a game. The Rams will be scoring 30 plus, kind of no problem.
Yeah, you would think.
They score 30.
I mean, that was one of Baker Mayfield's more consistent performances over the last 3 weeks. He put up, 28 points on that team?
Yeah.
So if Baker in that offense, which was pathetic against Miami, put up that 4 touchdowns, you got to believe Stafford in that offense could cook. You would hope. No Devontae Adams, though.
Here's where we're at, too, from the MVP race of it all.
Yeah.
Stafford's at 40 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's got 10 more than Drake May. Yardage-wise, he's, 30 yards away. So, now I don't know if, By the way, can we agree on something?
Yeah.
Week 18, Los Angeles Rams. Don't they have to make sure they secure the 5 seed?
Yeah.
With a win?
I would think.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I feel like that's not a team that can just toss that game aside.
No.
Like, it doesn't matter. I don't, because I believe they still would need the result in order to ensure that they would be the 5 seed in the result of, winning tonight and then, of course, winning the next game. In my estimation, I don't think this
I just hate if you're McVay and you're this team and you're searching and whether you get the NFC West title or not, the bottom line is this. You don't want to lose down the stretch.
Right.
I hate teams that, we could afford that. Yeah, but you don't want to have any type of losing mentality heading into a playoff.
I guess the weird one is, though, this team probably thinks that they can win a Week 18 game against Arizona with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. I'm serious. They probably think that. Like, I'll tell you now, and I know, but
Arizona's pathetic.
But that's the Rams' Week 18 game.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just trying to get a sense if Stafford's going to play in that game or not. I think it's interesting. But here's really...
Who do you like to...
Listen, I think occasionally these opportunities present themselves, and you just got to be willing to take them. Drake May and Matt Stafford are in MVP battle. Drake May in a route... He didn't actually really run it up. The Jets are just lifeless. Threw 5 touchdown passes. I believe had the highest-rated QBR game in the history of the metric, albeit it doesn't go back, I think, more than like 20 years. But still, two incomplete passes was perfect, flawless. I understand it's the Jets, but was flawless in the game. I don't see how Stafford isn't throwing at least 3 touchdowns in this game. You're going to get plus 140 on him to throw 3 touchdowns.
Who is he throwing the 3 touchdowns?
Listen, I know. Yeah, Davis Allen, Terrence Ferguson, Mumford and Sons.
He went to Akron,
Throw it to himself.
Pittsburgh transfer.
Yeah. Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, all the Yarnell's guys. Go ahead. Joe, this is the thing for me. If they're at
100.
If they're at the 1, why are they handing the ball off to Kyren Williams? You have to be aware of the situation. Also, let's also not lose sight of just how impressive it is. This guy's at 40 touchdowns, right?
He's had a very good – and we were concerned about the neck.
What is the single season record? 55 for Peyton Manning? How many guys have thrown 50?
Mahomes.
Brady, Mahomes. That's it. It's Peyton, Brady, and then Mahomes. Brady and Mahomes have 50 on the nose. Could he throw 5 in each of the last 2 games?
Yeah, why not?
All right, so time to bust out the ladders then on Monday Night Football. Joe Lisi, Kevin Walsh, Pro Football Today.
Arvil Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is if they're playing a Joe Bowman show.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Who is that?
Here, but I have no idea.
You need to know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Don? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Already been doing some work in golf, doing some work in racing. And he said, dial into this call. And they put up this deck about what TGL is going to be. This is like 4 years ago at this point. And I was like, how have I not seen this on social? This is the Tiger's involved, Rory's involved. There's a screen. I was like, this is crazy. We were all texting each other like, is this for real? And that's really where it started.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
My problem with the Raiders is I think they're one of the worst teams in NFL history right now.
In history?
Joe,
Cleveland had some bad teams.
Joe, they had 75 yards against the Eagles. And it wasn't surprising.
Outside of Brock Bowers, what do they have? Trey Tucker, Ashton Genty in the offensive line.
This moment of the Raiders, they just feel so lifeless.
Need a quarterback.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last